Hey there, hi there, ho there, it's Wispopedia. So I've been thinking about weapon crafting a lot. I've been considering how we get the weapons to drop and trying to figure out what the system was intended to be. I've been thinking through a lot of the ways the system works and its place in the game overall. Oh, and if you like this video, like and subscribe and all that stuff, and tell me your thoughts in the comments. Because honestly, weapon crafting in Destiny 2 isn't what we expected it would be. And that's probably for the best. So Bungie has stated that weapon crafting is supposed to provide another long-term pursuit. When Bungie first introduced the idea of shaping weapons, I know I was expecting to be able to have a bunch of perfectly crafted weapons after a month or so into Witch Queen in the new season. However, that's really not what it was intended to provide. Instead, it's supposed to be a pseudo-replacement for god roll farming that provides us a more direct path to getting the weapon we want and also personalizing that weapon to our specific needs. It's supposed to be a long-term pursuit. And that shouldn't happen in a day or two. There are some direct paths to getting the weapons you want, sure, and there are ways to farm the red drops that you need, but I think that crafting has a lot of promise in its current iteration. It does provide something to do after you've done everything else the DLC or season has to offer. And sure, I could end up getting my preferred roll before I get the red drops needed to extract the frame, but the crafted one could still have better versions of the same perks. And beyond that, there are mementos and other customization options that make the weapon feel more personal. I think that's a good thing, and it's just the start. Think about weapon crafting as a bit of a trial run right now. Eventually, they'll iterate on the system to the point that it'll be a main focus each season. It also adds an extra layer to seasonal content, where you play the new activities specifically to get red drops of the new weapons. Another extra reason to play the content is always good. I've played more PsyOps than basically any other seasonal activity. That's mostly because I was hunting red piece of mind drops though with basically no luck. So that's fun. And honestly, the drop rate is still sort of an issue to me. While it is a long-term pursuit, I do wish it were possible for it to be a smidge less dependent on RNG. But it's not meant to be something that we should be finished with yet. Not even after 2 months of the DLC being released, or a couple of days into the new season. On that note, we probably should talk about Season 17. I think a large problem with how people are approaching the Derelict Leviathan weapons is that they're expecting everything to be earned and finished in the first couple of days. And that's a symptom of being a chronic Destiny player in general, I think. We love grinding through the content and getting everything done as quickly as possible. But that's not the point of weapon crafting. Bungie wants to give us a way to create our perfect versions of these weapons, and as much as I'd love to have Austringer or Beloved with enhanced perks, I know that it took me a long time to get the seasonal weapons crafted from Risen. I haven't even finished all of those yet, and it's nice to have a checklist. I could keep running Val because I still need to get some red border weapons from that raid. I'm almost done crafting all of the weapons, but I'm not quite finished with those frames yet. But I get that for the seasonal weapons, the grind can be a bit more defeating, especially with how heavily based in RNG it is for the opulent weapons. Try to have some patience. I'm sure that the Crown of Sorrow will eventually give us a boost to our chances to have red border weapons drop from the opulent chests. I'm sure there will be ways to make focusing cheaper. I bet that later in the season it will be much easier to get the frames finished and to be able to craft the weapons we want, but we are not there yet. I will say, though, that it is frustrating to have that progress be based on RNG and also be time-gated. The seasonal model, while providing some exciting times when a new season drops, is not without its problems. This is sort of off-topic, but it does influence how we think about weapon crafting. That said, there are ways to make the grind itself less frustrating. So let's break down the steps to crafting your weapons. First, you get red drops. Then you use those weapons. Then you shape the new weapon from the extracted frame, and you use that crafted weapon. There are more steps involved with each step, kinda, but I'd boil down the system to those main 4. And to me, the first step is the worst part. Again, I know that's basically because it's so heavily based in RNG, but it is frustrating. So I've been trying to find ways to make farming for red drops less infuriating. The best advice I could give is to go for multiple weapons at the same time, work in a few different directions at once. That is really an area where weapon crafting shines. If you're trying to level a crafted weapon or finish deep sight resonance to extract frames, try to find activities where there are a lot of enemies to fight that you can farm pretty mindlessly, like PsyOps, or Wellspring, or even Nightmare Containment. Those are all great places for filling out levels and deep sight resonance, and they also have chances to drop red weapons whose frames you can extract, which is pretty great to me because again, you can work on multiple things at the same time. To me, it's a great way to progress towards the weapon you want to craft, and since there are a few great offerings from both activities, it makes sense to stay in those playlists to grind those out. But another factor is your mindset as well. I myself am loving Peace of Mind. It's my go-to pulse rifle in the Crucible. I use it all the time. And I wanted to have a crafted version so unbelievably badly. For a while I was at 4 out of 5 extracted for the frame. I got my last one to drop from the war table, and now that I have the crafted version, I'm going to go crazy leveling it up, which is a slow process, more on that later. That anticipation is what kept me moving forward and grinding Psyops to get a 5th red Peace of Mind. I don't really remember the last time a pursuit has hooked me like this in Destiny. And as for Season 17, it's definitely a slog to just grind chests, public events, high-value targets, etc. on the Derelict Leviathan to get opulent keys to drop, hoping that you'll get a deep sight weapon from the chest you open with it. Like, even that sentence just made me tired. It's not the most exciting grind, but again, I'm sure that there will be upgrades to that system in the future that will make it more easily farmable. There's also the system for the seasonal weapons specifically, where you grind out Containment, get multiple Bound Vestiges, and then run Sever to get all the drops at the same time. It's a little bit better, I guess, because you do have the promise of loot at the end of the Sever run, which is nice. The problem with the Leviathan loop specifically is, again, the issue of RNG. I do wish there were a way to influence the drops of the Opulent Keys. Maybe the Crown will give us a boost to their drop rate, or maybe we will be guaranteed Opulent Keys after Containment. I sure hope so. I guess just keep in mind that it's meant to be a long-term pursuit. It's supposed to replace the random drop farming. It's a direct path to getting exactly the weapon you want, and I'm happy it exists. But it definitely isn't perfect. We've talked about that on the channel already. So let's talk about what specifically I hope this system becomes. So the thing that was always frustrating when it came to random rolls for me was the lack of player agency. Bungie has made insane improvements in how random rolls work, with targeted farming for Umbral engrams, seasonal vendor upgrades, seasonal weapons that drop with 2 or 3 perks in the second column, and even the updates to Trials and Gambit. These have all provided ways to get exactly the roll you want, which is awesome. I really want the weapon crafting system to rival these improvements. Ideally, more player agency over red drops would be huge. It would be helpful for players to know exactly how to get red drops, to have more bad luck protection, or for us to have increasing chances for red drops in seasonal activities, or even to be guaranteed a red drop from master seasonal activities would do a lot of good. Another pain point is the amount of time it takes to level up crafted weapons. They really do take a while. Honestly, the progress is pretty slow, especially for the first few levels. I know I can mindlessly complete activities with the weapon equipped, but that can only be fun for so long, especially if this is one of the last things that I get to in a season. It still works as an additional layer while I'm completing other things on my Destiny checklist, but again, that's only effective as long as I have other things to do. I think a way to address both of these pain points, namely slow weapon leveling progress and agency over red drops, could come by way of some consumables that could help speed things up a bit. What if we had some kind of deep sight boons that could grant a higher chance for a red weapon to drop, and another that increased the experience gain for crafted weapons? Something stackable that also displayed flavor text for the whole team when used. That could even work for the entire team during something like Nightmare Containment. A long time ago, Bungie had these for Crucible and Strikes, where you had a chance to earn Bright Duster materials at the end of an activity. They were really nice, and actually added a layer of community interaction. Something like this, for faster weapon leveling, or higher chances at red weapons, could be really valuable, and it would at least feel a little better than mindlessly grinding for the sake of it. The more weapon crafting gets expanded, the more crucial the system will be, and the more fun it will be to engage with. I would also love to see the Memento system expanded with more emphasis on additional cosmetics we could apply on the weapons. Give us some neat decals and designs we could swap out on the fly. Make the process of leveling weapons a bit more enticing with more fun mementos. Anything that allows players to personalize their weapons and characters will go a long way to making the system more impactful. Also, please let us unlock the enhanced perks so that we don't have to pay the Resident Alloy or Ascendant Alloy every time we want to switch stuff around, and the enhanced perks could be a little more impactful. That would be awesome. I hope weapon crafting becomes a more central focus in the coming seasons. I hope it becomes a very fleshed out system that promotes us to continue playing different activities to level up weapons. I hope it becomes something that allows us to experiment with different perks and builds quickly so that we can create exactly the setup we want, especially with Solar 3.0 and Arc 3.0 on the horizon. All told, I think weapon crafting is sitting at an interesting place right now. It's a more long-term pursuit than we expected, but not quite enticing enough to keep us playing the game day in and day out. I imagine most people have crafted a fair amount of the weapons in the game, but hopefully more will be added in the craftable pool in the upcoming seasons and months. I want to see this system become more of a central focus, and I hope that it becomes something that Bungie will continue to adjust and iterate on. I want this to be something I can continually log on and work towards anytime I need something else to do in Destiny. I think it'll get there, and Bungie has already made some solid improvements. So, I'm hopeful. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, a like and sub would be super appreciated. Leave a comment about your thoughts on the current crafting system. You can also find me streaming on Twitch. And hey, check out the Dojo Discord. Dojo is an awesome community full of folks who play a bunch of games together. I love it there, and I think you will too. Thanks again for watching, folks. Make sure you drink your water, get some good sleep, and take care of yourselves. And I'll catch you next time.